The Prologue, A New World Order. January 2026. The geopolitical map is being redrawn in real time. Just days after the U.S. Navy and Delta Force successfully removed Nicolas Maduro from power in Venezuela, a new target has emerged in the frozen north. It started with a cryptic map on social media, Greenland, covered in the stars and stripes with the word soon. What was once dismissed as a property developer's fantasy has become a national security emergency. President Donald Trump has officially declared that Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships. He has issued an ultimatum to Denmark: sell the island or the U.S. will take it. This is not just about ice, it's about minerals, missile defense, and the total dominance of the Arctic. Tonight, we reveal the full, terrifying scope of Operation Arctic Resolve. The obsession with Greenland is woven into the DNA of American security. In 1946, President Harry Truman offered Denmark $100 million in gold for the island. He failed, but the U.S. never truly left. Through the 1951 Defense Treaty, the U.S. built Pituffik Space Base, a fortress that houses the world's most powerful early warning radars. Therefore, the U.S. already has a military presence, but for Trump, access is not enough. He wants ownership. He wants to bypass Danish environmental laws and European labor unions to turn Greenland into a massive extraction zone for rare earth elements. Under the new special envoy, Jeff Landry, the mission is clear: make Greenland a part of the United States. But how do you annex a territory belonging to a fellow NATO ally? As tensions reached a breaking point, Secretary of State Marco Rubio stepped into the fray. Next week, he will meet with Danish and Greenlandic officials in a high-stakes crisis summit. Rubio has sought to downplay the talk of invasion, suggesting that the U.S. prefers a purchase. But the Danish Foreign Minister, Lars Løkke Rasmussen, has pointed out a massive flaw in the U.S. narrative. Trump claims Greenland is crawling with Chinese and Russian ships inside the Nuuk Fjord. Rasmussen's response: the image being painted is simply not correct. This creates a dangerous uncertainty. Is the U.S. using manufactured intelligence to justify a military takeover? If the U.S. can claim a security threat where none exists, then no sovereign border is safe. The Finnish connection and the icebreaker trap. While diplomacy stalls, the factories are humming. Finland, the world's leader in Arctic maritime tech, is currently building 11 elite icebreakers for the U.S. Navy. This deal was supposed to save the Finnish economy, which currently suffers from the highest unemployment in the EU. But now, Finland faces a moral and strategic nightmare. These Finnish-built ships are not just ice-clearing vessels, they are potential warships. If the U.S. decides to move on Greenland, it will be Finnish steel that clears the path for the Navy's motherships, like the MV Ocean Trader, to enter the fjords. Finland is effectively building the tools for its own neighbor's annexation. As the Finnish newspaper Helsinki Sanomat warned, Finland has found itself in an uncomfortable position. They are anchored to a superpower that is shifting from protector to imperialist. The Russian silence and the NATO divorce. Why has Vladimir Putin been so silent? Russia owns 53% of the Arctic coastline. They have a massive nuclear deterrent in the high north, but Putin is not complaining. Why? Because a U.S. move on Greenland is the ultimate gift to the Kremlin. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has been blunt. An attack on Greenland is the end of NATO. If Trump pushes forward, the alliance that has held Europe together since 1945 will disintegrate. Russia doesn't need to win a war in the Arctic if the U.S. destroys its own alliances from within. For Putin, the sight of U.S. troops seizing Nuke would be the greatest victory in Russian history, a total NATO divorce that leaves Europe defenseless and divided. The Golden Dome and the Rare Earth War. Deep within the Pentagon, the Golden Dome project is moving forward. This is Trump's plan for an impenetrable missile defense shield. But for the dome to be complete, the U.S. needs absolute sovereignty over Greenland's landmass to install interceptor sites that are not subject to Danish oversight. Beyond defense, there is the Rare Earth War. China currently controls 90% of the minerals needed for high-tech weaponry. Greenland holds the world's largest untapped deposits of these elements. The U.S. sees this as a zero-sum game. If we don't own it, China will eventually buy it through debt diplomacy. Therefore, the U.S. is willing to risk a war with its allies to secure the raw materials of the 22nd century. Epilogue: the night the rules changed. From the humid jungles of Venezuela to the freezing fjords of Greenland, the strategy is the same: absolute resolve. The U.S. is withdrawing from 66 international agreements, removing the legal barriers to its expansion. Marco Rubio's meeting next week may be the last chance for diplomacy before the icebreakers begin to move. Is Greenland a real estate deal, a security necessity, or the beginning of a new American empire? As the world watches the trial of Nicolas Maduro in New York, the eyes of the Pentagon are fixed on the north. The Arctic ice is melting, and with it, the world order as we know it. The map is changing, and the word soon is turning into now. What do you think? Should Denmark sell, or should NATO prepare for the ultimate split?